what's happening, everyone? I'm Kevin with Robertson's Power and Sports, and this morning we got the sleds warming up. We're getting all geared up, getting ready to head out to the ghost trains. Yesterday we went out to the Amberjesus Boom House. We talked a little bit about the rich history in Maine here with logging, and today heading out to the ghost trains, another piece of logging history here in Maine. For those of you that don't know, there are two abandoned locomotives up between Chamberlain Lake and Eagle Lake that were used back in the early 1900s to be able to move some logs around and get them to their appropriate waterways. So we're going to head up there. We're going to try to do some backwoods riding and get these two Expedition Xtremes in their natural element, get them off the trail a little bit. It has been a little bit warm up here, and we do have to cross quite a few lakes, so we're going to see what condition the lakes are in. Sometimes when you get warm temperatures like this, you'll end up getting a little bit of slush in the lake. So we're going to see how that all goes, hop on the lake and use our best judgment, and if not, we'll just have to take some trails to get up there as well. So either way, we're going to have a blast, and why don't you come along with us and enjoy the ride. You put those batteries in the bag, right? Okay. Alrighty, so we were actually able to hop onto the lake at Kideo. Ran about 13 miles up the lake to northeast Cary to Raymond's store. We're going to top off with some fuel here. You never want to pass up an opportunity to get fuel, especially we're going to be doing some backwoods riding. So we topped off here. Now we're going to be heading up to Suboomik and get off trail from there. So come along with us, give you a quick look. One thing you always want to be careful of when you come up here is make sure you're riding slow, because there is a lot of deer in and around this area, so definitely be careful of that. Other than that, ride right and ride safe. Here we go. We're gonna hop back on the sleds. We're gonna head up to Savumik.
Guys still with us? Okay. If we start to get too far ahead, just let us know. Look at all the blue paint on the trees. See, this is where I believe on the map that it tells you that there's no road to connect these two waypoints. That's why they blaze those trees blue. Everybody good? So we're gonna head straight across. Yep, I'm just gonna mark a waypoint here. Okay, the old tramway is right up to the left. You guys can see that cut across. We're gonna go straight out. We good? Sled's coming. Let's park all the sleds kind of in front of the trains, guys. I'm gonna back in.
Alrighty, so we made it to the trains. We left Rockwood this morning. Put on about 86 miles so far to get up here. Been a great day overall. Riding today with my old man and my good buddy Josh and Kevin. Very, very little trail. We did a lot of backcountry stuff to get out here, and it has been a blast to say the least. So, as you can see in the background, there's all the sleds. There's the trains. I'll take you for a quick walk around. Just flip this camera around. There they are. As some of you refer to them as the ghost trains. Really cool piece of Maine logging history for sure. Maine is known for its logging, and the other day we were able to go out to the Amber Jesus Boom House and check out that piece of history, and man, that was really, really cool to see that, to see how it was, you know, see the clothing and the tools that were used back in the day for logging up here in Maine. These trains here haven't been, or these locomotives I should say, haven't been in use for about 100 years now. There's been a lot of efforts to continue to restore these things. You can look back at pictures over the years, and these things were leaning really, really hard. So with the efforts of many, they've got these things back straightened up, and it's been a great snowmobile destination. We've been out here a few times before, always via trail. Never backwoods, so this is our first time, and man, it has been an absolute blast. Now when you come out here, depending on which way you come in, if you come in from Chamberlain Lake, you're going to see a little bit of the history of the old tramway out there. When we leave here, we'll stop by and we'll shoot some video on that. Here's a small write-up of the history of it. So actually, they used, at first was the tramway, and when they would use the tramway to be able to get the logs from one lake to the other, they ran that for a while, and then they decided to go ahead and use the locomotives after. They had a 13-mile stretch of a track that they ran. Actually, here's the group of guys that I'm with today. Everybody say hi.
Hi.
Having a blast so far, guys?
Oh, it's been fun.
Pretty cool ride in, huh?
It's been awesome.
Awesome. Surprised they actually said anything. So anyways, they ran a 13-mile stretch of track, and they had the box cars were actually, the floors of them were raised up about 8 to I believe they said 8 to 10 inches, and then the track that they were on, when they got to a certain spot, the track was tipped as well. That way there, the logs would just dump into the lake, and then they send them down the lake to whatever river it was going to be going to, etc. And that's how they got the logs moved around. So up here, you can see the remnants of the old cars. Pretty cool stuff. It's like somebody just pressed the flipped the switch, and everything stopped, and it just kind of stayed in place. Take you for a little walk through here. As you can see, trees have grown up through this stuff. Like I said, it's been about 100 years since this stuff was in operation, or almost 100 years. So, really cool piece of history out here. It just goes on for a ways. As you can see, it kind of goes both sides. All the cars and whatnot. So I've yet to be able to make it out here in the summertime. My old man has. You definitely can see a lot more in the summertime than you can obviously in the winter, because it's all covered with snow. But man, to think that they had to bring, you know, you can't just get these trains in here. They actually had disassembled them and brought them in with horses and then reassembled them up here. It's pretty impressive, the feat that it was to be able to do this. And they only ran them for a few years, and it just wasn't cost effective to go ahead and take them back out. So they left them here, and like I said, it's been a great destination for many years, especially on snowmobiles. But definitely, you know, if you're gonna come out here, do your homework, plan out a good route, stop and check with places, make sure that they have gas along the way, because you definitely don't want to get stranded out here without gas. So there's a couple places you can go. A couple sledders going by. One, depending on which way you're coming from, just let this other sled go by here. So depending on where you're coming from, you can stop at Libby Camps. Libby Camps is a great place to check out. If you're coming from that Shin Pond, maybe even Millinocket area, always give them a call. Make sure they got fuel if you're trying to make the trek out here. It's a good practice too when you're in there. Just let them know that your intentions are to go to the trains, and if you're going to go back to that specific place, let them know that as well. That way they're, you know, if it's been a long time, you haven't been back yet, they at least know that your intention was to come back. So always make that phone call. One, make sure they get gas, and then also when you're there, ask about how the conditions of the lakes are, any known pressure ridges, etc. Do your homework, like I said. And then if you're coming from the Moosehead area, definitely check out the Suncook Lake House. Great place to stop in, get some food. The views there at Mount Katahdin are awesome. So unfortunately they had a fire a few years back, and they've been rebuilding. So it's coming along really, really well. We actually stopped at the Suncook Lake House yesterday, and great food, great hospitality, and they're doing a heck of a job over there. So definitely give them a shout out, or a stop in, I should say. If you're in the area, support them, get some food, get some fuel, and then make your way out to the trains. The only other piece of advice I could say is, if you're going to make the trek out here, try to do it with somebody that's been out here before. There's not a lot of good landmarks out here on the lakes. So like I said, you don't want to get spun around out here and spend the night for sure. So thanks for taking the ride along with us. We're going to hang out here for a few minutes, have a couple snacks, back on the sleds, and then we'll stop at the Tramway on the way out. We'll show you that Tramway. That's pretty cool too. A lot of people don't realize that this was actually two separate processes going on here. It started off first with the Tramway and then with the trains. So two great pieces of history. So on the way out, we'll stop and check that out. So in the meantime, I'll give you one last shot of the trains. Alrighty, so here's the Tramway. Right as you get off of Chamberlain Lake, you're gonna see these immediately right on your left. You can see the old belt right there that drove everything. A couple of the steam boilers that powered everything. So basically, how this would all work is these boilers here, they would run, and then they would drive this belt that's over here. I'll show you here. And that belt there ran the Tramway. Everything was on a cable. And I'll take you a walk over here. There's a nice little display, kind of give you an idea of how this all works. So they would load the logs up onto these little carriage, or almost like a little dolly, if you would. I can't think of the right word for it at the moment, but this is what they would do. They would put the logs up on here, and then that cable right there, this is about a 3,000 feet in total, would shuttle the logs from where we just were up at the locomotives down this way. So really cool piece of history here in the Maine woods. If you ever get a chance to come out here, whether it's in the summertime or in the wintertime, I highly recommend doing it. It's cool to kind of look back and see how things were back in the day, and the amount of work that went into this. You know, had to bring all of this stuff in and be able to set it up, and the manpower that it took is just unbelievable to look back and realize, like I said, what it took to make this all happen. Oh, here comes my father. He's all set, ready to go. Just show you a little bit of the history board here, talking about the tramway. Let's look around. There's been some people, like I said, that have been coming up here and trying to help you know, restore all this stuff, and not fully restore it, I should say, but at least help preserve it, and that way there people can, when they come out here, they get an idea of what it actually looked like back in the day. And Roger Morneau has done a heck of a job with it, and then his team as well. So great job, guys. Keep up the great work. We really appreciate all the hard work that you guys have put in to be able to make this a great destination, and we were able to see exactly what it was like back in the day. So like I said, keep up the great work. I'll give you an idea. They just recently put this belt on. Nice shot right there. Here's the gears that ran everything. So basically, off those steam boilers, they'd run that motor, would turn this belt right here, which in turn would turn these gears. And as you can see right over here, this big wheel here, the cable would lock into it, and that's what would run the tramway. So really cool. There's a shot out at Chamberlain Lake. Well, gonna get back on the sled, load it up. It's just about 3 o'clock, and I think you know, it's about 4 hours to get back. We're gonna go back the same way we came because the trails were unbelievable. I shouldn't say trails because we backwoods it all the way, but it was all really, really smooth stuff, and the temperatures have been really warm. I think today, believe it or not, we're middle of February, and it was I think it's 45 degrees right now. So obviously trail riding, the groomers and stuff can't get on groomed, so those trails get beat up pretty good. But we were fortunate enough to be able to backwoods it all the way up here, and we're going to do the same thing back. So I think it's going to be about 85 miles back to camp, and we're talking about 4 hours, so it'll be interesting. So let's hop back on the sleds, come along with us, and we're going to head back to Rockwood.
I don't think he's quantifying right there. Oh yeah, he's got body again. Oh yeah, he must have load. Oh yeah, there he is there, yeah. Yeah. Just watching us. Sorry buddy, we didn't mean to disturb you. Oh, he's caught in now. I figured we'd dump fuel while it was still light out, make it a little bit easier. hey, pressure ridge. Pressure ridge. Yeah, a little fluffy in front of there, guys. Be careful. I see it, I think. Yeah, right here, guys, another pressure ridge. It's gonna be fluffy in here. Oh, careful through there. Now what? Now what? Your throttle spot?
Alrighty, so we just pulled back into camp here in Rockwood. What an unbelievable day today. Temperatures were up. We got to do some backwoods riding from here all the way up to the trains. I'm glad you had a chance to come along with us for the ride. We had an unbelievable time. Gotta thank my old man and good friends Josh and Kevin for putting up with me and coming along on this ride, because it's not everybody that wants to do backcountry riding, but we got the equipment to do it, and the Expedition Xtremes, they really perform well out there. We had a great time overall. If you ever get a chance to do some of that backwoods riding, it's a lot of fun, especially with a day like today. The temperatures were warm, so we knew the trails weren't going to be that great, so we decided to take the road less traveled, let's say. So probably hands down one of my most favorite rides that I've done to date. Hopefully we have many more of these to come. So again, thank you so much for coming along for the ride. I brought you the whole length of Moosehead, well, from Northeast Cary all the way down to Kineo. That was pretty interesting in some spots. Some pressure ridges, and one thing I want to talk about pressure ridges, you saw that we crossed over, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them. Some of them are larger than others, but that's something you always have to be careful of when you're running lakes. Even in the daytime, sometimes depending on the lighting, it's tough to see these things. So whenever you're on a lake, you know, definitely keep an eye out for pressure ridges, and how you cross them, that's at your own risk, 100%. But I'm going to tell you how I go about doing it. And again, this is not an instructional video of how to cross a pressure ridge. This is just how I do it. When I find them, I look for a beaten path that's gone across, and I look for sled tracks. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind with pressure ridges is that they will change daily, sometimes hourly. So just because you crossed over that one spot earlier in the day does not mean that there couldn't be open water on either side. Normally, when it comes to a pressure ridge, there is water on either side of it. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, is when the ice heaves and it forms a ridge. So I've seen them out here on Moosehead Lake as tall as 6 to 8 feet tall, and that is a wall. On one side it is a ramp, the other side it's a wall, so you do not want to hit it going either way at any type of speed, for sure. So just something to keep in mind when you're running these big lakes, that these are common pressure ridges, and if you are going to run the lake, definitely suggest running it with someone that has done it before, and or check with the locals to make sure that you ask them about pressure ridges and the condition of the lake before you just go venture out there. So just a little bit of a tip for you regarding that, but overall we had one heck of a day. I'm going to go ahead and show you the sleds here back at camp. I know it's a little bit dark, a little tough to see, but that's the one Expedition Xtreme. Here's the second, all decked out. And one thing, if you're going to be doing some backwoods riding, I don't know if you can see it here, but this right here, snow bungee, lifesaver. Just ask me, I'll tell you all about it. You get one of these things stuck, even any type of sled really for that matter, you get it stuck, you're going to need a little bit of extra pulling power. These things are going to help you get that machine out of there without breaking your back. So if you have any questions on any of this stuff, don't hesitate, give me a call, 207-324-5502. Drop a comment below. Again, if you got any destinations in the Moosehead area that you think I may enjoy doing, then I'd like to take you along for a ride with me. As far as the video goes, let me know. I'd love to do that. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate the support. Until next time, ride right, ride safe, over and out.